Hey guys, Chris with Coldbreak here with our CO2 regulator. And this is our Coldbreak brand regulator. It has two gauges. It's got a 0 to 60 gauge and then a high pressure gauge. High pressure gauge measures the amount of pressure coming out of the tank, so you know that there's no leaks. And then the pressure gauge measures the amount of pressure that it's sending to the kegs. On the connection side, you will see that it's kind of hard to see that there is a clear washer in there. You got to kind of touch it to feel it because it is very clear. But if you don't, you need one of those in there. So if there's nothing between the connection between here and the regulator, you're going to get a leak. And then most of the time, whoever's filling the tanks will also throw one on the tank itself as well, so you have a backup or an extra. So this is pretty common for the industry when they're filling tanks to throw an extra one on there, but your regulator should have one on there as well. And it's got an all aluminum body, bonnet, and adjustment knob. So it also has a middle ring on here that is a locking ring, so if you want to set your pressure, you can turn the ring forward towards the adjustment knob and tighten it down, and that way it's difficult to change the pressure on the gauge itself or on the regulator itself. So on the output side, our Coldbreak brand regulators, most of our tubing that we sell for our Jockey boxes and our dispensing equipment is 5/16 ID tubing. So we use a 5/16 ID Barb on the end of the check valve here. And let's throw one on. So that little cap just protects the threads on the end of the CO2 tank here. So this is a CGA 320 valve, which is standard in the US. Oh, nope, sorry, let's wait a second here. I like throwing these on. That goes through there before you actually tighten it down. And that way that wrench is always available to you. And we're gonna spin it towards me. And we're going to hand tighten it. We're going to get it kind of straight. And then we're going to use the wrench and tighten it down towards me. You don't got to over tighten them, just so they're snug. And there we have it. And then the 5/16 Barb, 5/16 ID tubing. You need a hose clamp on the end of it. And we'll tighten that hose clamp down. So now we've got tubing coming off of our regulator. And here's where you would either attach it directly to the coupler if you're using one tap. But if you were to put more than one tap on here, this is where you would connect the manifold, right? So your manifold will split your CO2 off into 2, 3, 4 different ways. So you can connect more than one tap to it. But here we're just connecting one. And so here, and then when we turn the gas tank on, we're going to turn the tank all the way on. Open that valve completely. Then we see that we've got a high pressure gauge. We're showing about just under 1,000 pounds of pressure that's going to the regulator itself from the tank. So that tells me that there's a really good amount of pressure going there. And if that were any lower, we would probably think that there was a leak somewhere in the system. So. And so for here, this shows that our PSI gauge is all the way up towards 60. So that means it's all the way up almost. So we're gonna back that little screw all the way back towards the bonnet itself, and then we're gonna turn down the gauge here. Okay, so now we're at 0. And then let's say we wanted to set this keg to, let's say we're hooking it up to a Jockey box and we want to set it to 25 pounds of pressure, right? So we would leave it off, go up to 25 pounds of pressure on the top gauge. And then we can bring that little ring all the way forward to this adjustment knob and kind of tighten it down, and that keeps it nice and secure. We'll open up our gauge. And then we'll open up our check valve, which allows CO2 through the system to our beer coupler. And then once we attach our keg and engage, it will fill this keg to 25 pounds of pressure, right? And so you might need minor adjustments here and there. So we're going to loosen that adjustment ring, and then we're going to bring it up to 25. And we'll bring that adjustment ring back to the front to tighten down the adjustment knob. Okay, there you have it. There's a primary CO2 regulator by Coldbreak. Any questions? Support at coldbreakusa.com.